Hi, I'm the Recruiting Maven and welcome back to my channel. I created this channel specifically to address some of the career changes that are coming up because of the fourth industrial revolution that's already underway, and because a lot of people are not having these conversations as to what to do in the next few years as so many jobs will be displaced. Again, we're looking at a number of 9%, and that's a very conservative number of people who will have lost their jobs at that point. And I've spoken about that, so please check out my channel for other videos that really address those specific issues. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about career, being a candidate, and also what it's like to be a recruiter on the receiving end of a candidate who really is lacking self-esteem because of maybe an economic change at home, maybe it's an economic change at work, maybe it's just a life change that's happening to you, whether you're getting married or divorced or whatever the situation may be. After having 3 conversations over the last 3 days, I figure it certainly was of value to talk to you about this because we always think about, or we talk about being positive, and I think most people visualize being positive as somebody who's really excited and it's always excited and it's always like this or acting that way, and it's actually can be quite annoying. Although I personally appreciate excitement during an interview, and I want to see that from you. On the other side of that, I think it's more than that. I think being positive is about having good self-esteem, knowing who you are. It's not so much not knowing what you don't want, it's knowing what you do want, and having that resonate throughout your life. So what I mean by that is what you find acceptable, what you are not going to accept in a job, in your life. And everything that you do starts from inside and expands outwardly, right? I think we can all agree on that. However, I think it gets lost in the translation as you're looking into your next job. More recently, I had a candidate who is just pretty much fed up with their work situation, lack of being respected. This person is being demoted in so many ways, sort of pigeonhole into an area that they are very good and skilled, highly skilled at. However, there's no growth. And I received a phone call, and this person was really at their wit's end because the conversation revolved around what do I do now that I'm in this spot? And I actually, what amazed me was that person admitted that they put themselves in that spot, where most people would say, oh, it's my boss's fault, or it's my coworker's fault, or people react to situations and they blame the situation, as opposed to saying, I acknowledge that I was I had a great hand in putting myself where I am today, as opposed to being proactive and perhaps looking for another job when I knew that the sign was on the wall and I should have moved to a different position, and I didn't. And so there's a bit of counseling going on, career counseling that I'm doing with that person in a very intense way, just to get that person, give them that push that they need, as we all do. I include myself in that, and I'm very grateful to people who provided that to me when I needed it as well. It's hard to get into that sort of a crisis mode. And when I say crisis, I don't mean that, you're just going to jump off a building. That's not what I mean. But you just get to the end of your rope and you're just really ready to walk out. And that's a tough place to be. And I certainly have been there once at least. Okay, twice. But certainly... So some of my advice to you is, make sure you're checking yourself every day, that you can really look at yourself in the mirror and say, I really love you. I appreciate you. Everything that you do every single day. And that just hits home with me because, a lot of people say, well, you're probably just lacking self-esteem. And I say, no, I can really look at myself in the mirror and say those things to myself, not in an egotistical way, but to really value myself each and every day, so then when things happen to me, I'm reacting in an appropriate manner as opposed to lashing out, blaming others. Um, and, that's never good. I have made some notes, by the way, just to stay on point. I do tend to go off on tangents, and those could be good too, just depends. Uh, Something that was brought up to me actually in a phone call a little bit ago is, as I spoke to you, not only the value of self, but with a lot of the hatred that we're seeing these days. And again, it also reflects in your job. So if you don't feel good about yourself, if you have that, say, self-hatred, you're going to be taking that out on somebody else. And that's never good. I don't think that people just hate someone when they see somebody else walking down the street. I truly, truly believe that it's about self-hatred, things that we don't like in ourselves. The fact that we don't like ourselves, the fact that we're not comfortable with ourselves, perhaps even being alone for a few hours without having someone validate who we are, what we do, our value to them, our value in the family, our value in our jobs. And it becomes so overwhelming to be around someone like that, possibly be married to someone like that, have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a significant other, and that constant validation takes its toll on everybody else. So it is very important to have that inwardly. And I'm certainly not saying that the person I'm coaching right now has those issues, but I just wanted to bring that up because I've had these conversations with several other people over the last 3 days. And again, this was just in general a topic of conversation. How everyone's shocked and appalled at the hate crimes that are actually happening lately. And again, I don't think it's about a color, skin, a religion, or anything. I think it really, the root of that evil, the root of the problem at its core is self-hatred. That you don't want to have somebody else what you have, selfish motives. When we cannot find peace within ourselves, we find a way of blaming others. And that shows up in so many ways: addiction, abuse, verbal, physical abuse of other people. And I'm certainly not a proponent of any of those things. And just would like to say that just keep in mind that you never know what that person's gone through. A friend of mine on social media really went on a rant and really checking people that they were complaining that my friend was amazingly positive, and she really laid it out. She had been physically and sexually abused as a child, and she said, you don't really realize that. You can either dwell on that and stay on that, in that mode of feel sorry for me and I feel sorry for me. And she said, I decided to leave and move on to greener pastures, meaning that I'm going to look at myself and value myself, appreciate myself, love myself. And therefore, if I, don't love myself, I can't love you. I can't appreciate you if I don't appreciate myself. And some of those points that she made were right on target. You can't give and you can't receive what you don't have and what you're not putting out. So in the arena of candidacy and applying for jobs, I can see that. I can see when you don't really value yourself, or this is just another job to you. I'm not going to say that I haven't had people that I've hired that weren't very slick, got through the behavioral questioning part of the process. They're very likable people, and yet their performance, they ended up being terminated because they just couldn't bring it. And so that does happen, and there's some people that are very skilled at that. And kudos to you, but at the end of the day, it's not going to work out. So being genuine with yourself, starting from the inside and working your way out, and I hate to say being positive, but it is. That's essentially what it is. Having a positive attitude about yourself and who you are, no matter what size you are, no matter what color of eyes, color of skin, what religion or lack of religion, doesn't matter. It comes through when you apply to that job, when you are sitting across from me. I can see that. One of the reasons why I can see that is because, at least for my techniques, yes, I do behavioral questionnaires. I have those. But I will sit down and talk to you and get to know you first and foremost. And all of a sudden gain your confidence, or your confidence, I'm sorry, your walls will come down and you feel comfortable with me, and I'll start to see that. No matter how much you try and hide that, I will say 9 times out of 10 it's very visible. So like yourself, engage yourself in some positive reinforcements, whatever it is that you need to do for yourself, because that's going to give you the success that you're really looking for, that maybe that you're not finding at the moment. So I know this is a bit of a long vlog for me anyway, but it's just based on quite a few conversations with the same theme over the last 3 days. So I appreciate your time, and love to continue the dialogue. Again, as we're going to see a lot of changes in the workforce, it interests me how you're feeling, how you're perceiving all of this. That emotional impact is going to come into play. And so be happy to, assist you with anything. I do some coaching. And so I will leave you my link as to how to get a hold of me. So be happy to help with that. Please subscribe, like, and share my videos, and make sure you hit that little bell so you get notifications every time I upload. I do upload twice a week. I'm shooting for Tuesdays and Thursdays, where nobody else is busy having fun on the weekends and so forth, or just trying to get their feet wet on a Monday. So I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you in my next vlog. Take care. Have a great week.